Welcome to today's episode of the Group X podcast. I'm your host, Tony Zonato, and if you haven't yet done so, hit that follow button so you never miss another episode. Today, I'll be talking to Phelan, trainer and presenter for Les Mills Asia Pacific. Eve shares with us how she got into the fitness industry and why she loves teaching, her passion around quarterly workshops, how they used to be and how they have evolved, and her joys of being a trainer and presenter. So grab your favourite beverage, sit back, and enjoy the show.
Eve, thank you so much for coming on the show and having a chat with me tonight. I greatly appreciate your time.
It is an absolute pleasure, Tony. An absolute pleasure. No, I'm so excited.
You're a gem. You're a gem. Hey, I want to start off with getting an understanding for our listeners where your journey began. Where did it all start for you? How did you come across fitness? Tell us that story.
Okay. I was 14 when I taught my first aerobics class in a G-string leotard with leg warmers.
Ooh, yeah.
And, you know,
You've set the scene.
I know. It's a really scary scene. I'm sorry. Give people nightmares. No, I had this amazing instructor ask me. She was going away and I went and did her class, and it was at this dodgy little squash court gym in the back of Nerang. You can't take Nerang out of the girl. I'm still here. And she asked me if I would teach these classes. Now, I have images in my mind of how I taught these classes back at at that time. And wow, if only they could see me now. But anyway, that's where it all started. And, you know, I was so young, so it wasn't something that in my mind I was going to do, but I loved it. I loved seeing what that effect was when you're in a room full of music and you're working out and people are smiling at you and you're smiling back at them. Yep. And the room's buzzing. Yep. And something happened along the lines of 10 years after I'd had my second baby, and I started training, and I got picked up off my Cert 4 course by a lady who ran a club here. It was at Fitness Connection, and it was a big club back in the day, and she asked me to come and work for her, and I was really blessed to be taken on board by her. She had strong work ethic. She loved the industry, and the way she ran her club was you did everything. So back in the old school days, Yep. You know, you sold memberships, you did reception, you personal trained, you did programs, you taught classes. And she was a bit of a cyclone, but she had high expectation, and she taught me so many values back then. Excellent. And that was where it started. Yeah. And I loved teaching classes. That was my favorite thing to do. Yep. And I used to put my A block with my B block with my C block with my D block, and, you know, all of those crazy
freestyle stuff. Yeah. Brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, without giving away your age, I want to ask you I was going to say what decade. That sounds so bad, Tony. That's not what you were trying to say. What era were we talking about? Are we talking about early 90s? Are we talking about late 90s? Where are we?
So when I taught my first class, that was at the end of the 80s, I guess.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm 47.
Okay.
I feel like I've been doing this since I, was a baby. Yep. And but yeah, so I've seen a whole lot of stuff. Yep. I've been through a whole lot of different outfits teaching group fitness.
I can imagine. But also,
I quite like.
I think being
like the
being in the industry from then to now, you would have seen a massive switch or change, or let's use the word evolution, in group fitness in itself, but not only group fitness, but in the way of training and different training styles through the years as well. If you've been around for a while, you've seen it all.
I have a lot.
The first class you taught was a freestyle class. Yep.
Uh-huh.
When did you actually do Les Mills training? When did that sort of come along in your journey? Where does that fit in?
I remember when body pump first came to Australia.
Yep.
And one of our instructors at the same club I was just talking about, she went to do her body pump training. I remember going, oh my God, I can't believe that she's going to learn this program, that she has to learn someone else's choreography. You know, what's wrong with her making up her own choreography, blah, blah, blah. And she came back talking about how she'd had to do this challenge and she'd nearly thrown up, and and it was this massive weekend of training, and I'm still there going, oh, who'd ever do that? And then, turn over a few years from that, and I did my training. I did step and pump first, then I did combat, and then the rest is history. But so it was sort of back in the 30s era of pump and step.
Wow.
So, their pump we're on 120.
Yep.
So it's been a lot of releases.
Yes, definitely. When there's 4 a year, people can work that one out. That's
do the maths.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
And I know I get an understanding that training back then was obviously very different to training now. So your IMT back then would have been very different. I mean, even when I did mine in 2003, it was a 3-day module.
Yep.
Yeah. And now it's 2 days now, if I'm...
Well, we do 2 days, and then we do the day 3 certification in 8 weeks now.
Yes.
Which is actually, it's pretty awesome. I think from a supporting of instructors, ensuring that they do some of the work after they've been bombarded with the information overload over a weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
So having that 8 weeks of time to themselves to go and practice team teaching, to just dip their toes into actually implementing the knowledge, rather than on one weekend thinking that you are able to go and ace teaching these programs.
Yep.
So I really feel this day 3 has been, it's been a real positive for getting instructors over the mark, having them certified as well, because often people would do those 2-day modules and they'd never do certification from that.
Yep.
And honestly, if you're really honest about it, do you think that you can take on the information on 2 days and then go out and ace being an instructor? And it's not just about, nailing choreography. It's not about that. It's about being able to actually see a room and see what's happening in front of you and implement the skills that you learn. And that takes time. It takes practice. 8 weeks is not enough, but it gives you enough time to have a little bit of...
Yeah, you get the foundations and that kind of stuff in play. When you did your training, was it a 2-day module or a 3-day module?
No, it was 3 days.
It was 3 days?
Yep.
But 2 weeks later?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's the same as when I went through my pump as well, and that was it was good. I think my training was with AT, with Andrew Taylor, which was for pump, which was perfect. Nice when you've got someone and gel, because he was my PT. He was, we were fairly good mates, so that was easy, but it was still a challenge. And I only had 2 weeks. I was a full-time PT. I was full-time teaching RPM as well, and to try and find time to actually get in there and learn it all with everything else was, my God. Yes, I was lucky that I had a lot of Les Mills trainers and presenters working at the club that I was at. So I had a lot of them sort of take me under their wing and help me and sort of, right, come on, get in here and shadow with us. You're going to do this. And, so that sort of stuff was good, but it was still very daunting. And I think, as you say, the 8 weeks now gives the instructor that little bit more time to let it settle. Get a full grasp on what's going on and make a better instructor. I think I remember being when I was working for Les Mills in account management stuff, and we did the group fitness management seminar. It was always a topic that came up with people that were, why are Les Mills passing so many people? What's going on? They go away for this weekend and they come back and they're crap, but they've been passed. And I'm like, hang on a second. Or, they've gone away and they've come back and they haven't been passed at all. They've got to do all this type of stuff. I'm like, wow, there's 2 different sides of that completely just there. And it really came down to the expectations of a club when they'd endorsed an instructor to go off. That instructor's not going to come back after 2 days and be your gun instructor. Yeah, unless
No,
they've
it's
got
crazy,
unless they've got
isn't it?
6
Oh,
programs under their belt and they're doing another one, and they've got all the foundations, they know all that kind of stuff, and it's just a new program that might be similar to what they've done in the past, then they might be pretty good at it. But to expect someone that's never done training before to go do the training, do 2 days, and then, oh yeah, get off on stage on Monday, you'll be
oh,
sweet. What? No
I
chance.
know.
No chance.
I think that people underestimate the work that goes into it, and especially in those early days. If it's the first time that you've ever done this, it just you, with all of the best intentions and all of the passion that somebody might have, and they've been the best front row participant ever, and at times you've wanted to hand your microphone to her in the front row because she knows everything before you know it.
Yep.
But put them in a module and have them then try to stand up and conduct an audience, be ahead of the movement, be, trying to connect them to the music, and then remember where they're at, and, and shit, someone falls over in the corner, or, like, it's just there's so many variables that just doesn't happen, from a 2-day module.
Yeah.
And you're right. And some clubs do put that pressure on, but I think, I think that there's possibly a lack of understanding or awareness about what actually goes into making a kick-ass instructor.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and that's, to me, is I think where clubs need to do a little bit more research. You can't just turn around and go, yeah, we're going to take on the program. Cool. Just to call out for anyone that's an instructor that wants to come and teach, you got to find the right fit. You've got to find the right fit for your gym. Just because I'm an instructor doesn't mean I'm going to fit at your gym.
Mm-mm.
Your members might not be my demographic. They might not like me at all. I could walk in there and be a fantastic instructor at a club 4 suburbs over, but come to teach at your club, they think I'm shit. They'll look at me and just go, no, don't come back. We don't gel with you. The personalities just don't work. And that I think is one thing that clubs need to look at and go, cool, you can send as many people as you want to training.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you can't shine a shit. This is the Group X podcast.
Also, Tony, you and I have had this discussion many times before.
Yeah.
There is an added responsibility of your group fitness manager to be the right person for the job, so that they are allocated enough time to be able to train their instructors, empower them, teach them, build confidence in them, give them the resources, the time, the effort, the energy that your instructors need to become the best instructors that they can be.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen just by doing a training module and being put on a timetable. Yeah. And, we've spoken so often about what is that role? Yep. Is that role an admin role?
Yep.
Who should be the people in that role? And is it the club's responsibility?
Yep.
Yep. And
that's season 3. That's season 3 podcast. So people, pause that because you and I are going to chat again around that one. But people that are listening, stay tuned for season 3 podcast. That'll be coming out around group X management and the who, what, where, how, why, and when, and bloody what you should be doing. So stay tuned. But pause on that. What I want to get back to you. I want to get back to you and your journey through this. Let me ask you a weird question that I haven't asked anybody yet. Why do you teach?
Oh, first of all, knowing when somebody leaves that room that I have lit a little spark or ignited a little flame or changed the course of their mental space for that day, or just made them smile, made them feel good.
Yep.
Just that feeling, knowing that, seeing that happen is the greatest joy. So that's what do I get from them? But also for me, when I turn the music on, everything around me is quiet.
Yep.
So it's quiet in my own brain.
Yeah.
It's everything else that was probably noisy through the day, that I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It allows me some real clarity for an hour.
Yep.
Or a half an hour, and it takes all of that pressure off my own shoulders as it has just gone, and it's an amazing stress reliever.
Yeah. I love hearing that, because the other people that I've interviewed beforehand on the show, that it's almost the same response that I've gotten when I've asked that question in that roundabout way, is that people it's their outlet. They love it so much because they love being able to impact people's lives, but also what it does for you as an individual is so powerful as well. It's that you're giving something to somebody else, but at the same time, it's you being able to deal with your stuff in your way, and it gives you 100%
Absolutely.
your time, but it's not your time. It's their time.
No.
But it just works so well that, it can be that stress release, as you said, and also that time to, it's you time.
Like the pressure cooker is off. The pressure's off. But just, even though sometimes the lead up to it can be, I can feel the pressure because I have a lot of different things happening and choreography, and then I've got, I'm needed somewhere and the kids want something, and so beforehand I can sort of sometimes get that anxious feeling, oh my God, but then you walk into that room and everything else goes. It's very peaceful, actually.
Back when I used to teach, and I used to teach a 6:15 a.m. class in Canberra, and also back in Sydney back then, I never slept properly the night before. It'd be that whole, did I set an alarm? You'd wake up 1,000 times throughout the night. Okay, not 1,000 times, but you'd wake up half a dozen times throughout the night thinking, oh, what time is it? Oh no, I've got another 3 hours yet. Okay, go back to sleep. Okay. But I don't know. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that happens to, but I'm
not the only one.
It's that anticipation and that whole, I get there was the butterflies, even though I did it for 15 years or whatever it was still, I got butterflies before going to teach every time. And even though I'd get up there and you'd have that moment of autopilot that would kick in, and you knew what you did because you were doing it so often, and you knew what had to be done, there was always that anticipation and that butterflies of, oh my God. And I think to me that was because I loved it so much and enjoyed it so much. That's why I got it. And I think when that stopped is when I realized I needed to jump off the stage and not teach anymore. I haven't taught now in 5 years, but this isn't about me. It's about you. But it was that very much the feeling of,
It
the
means
butterflies.
something.
And,
It means something. And you know that I think people, the fact that they have decided to spend this half an hour or an hour coming here to do this with me, that's something really important. And I want for them to have a useful time, it's important. People's time is valuable. So it's a big responsibility. Trying to hope that they feel something, hope that it makes them leave feeling better than when they came. And it does have a flow-on effect. It has a flow-on effect for the way that they work. It has a flow-on effect for their family. Those good feels. There should be more good feels.
This is the Group X podcast.
Hey, when you've been teaching, so when did the opportunity come up for you to either be a trainer or a presenter, and which one came first, or did they both happen together?
So I had a trainer come and do my class, and it's not like I didn't know this person, but it wasn't on a personal level, but I worked in the same company at the time. She came and did a class and asked for me to submit back then a DVD. And so I did, and the rest is history.
Okay.
And that was, I'm coming up to nearly 12 years with LMAP
Yep.
on some level. So,
Okay.
yeah, and it was for combat at first.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Cool. So combat was the first program that you were a trainer presenter in?
Presenter.
Yep.
Yep. It was a very close body step or body attack.
Yep.
And I went down the path of combat presenter, body attack presenter, very quickly led to body attack trainer. And in that time was asked to start with the group boot camp, where I was then selected to be one of the trainers for there. So it was
Sweet.
those 3 programs in the beginning. And I was really blessed with, some amazing people seeing something in me or seeing a real passion in me. And it was funny because what I loved most was when I got the opportunity to work with the trainers on modules, to see what happened from Saturday morning through to Sunday afternoon. And I remember, I was already a mum, but I remember I would sit there and my cheeks would get so sore because I'd be watching them do their presentations, and I couldn't get the smile off my face. I remember having tears, watching some people transform in that time, and it was just the most amazing thing, like watching a caterpillar grow their wings. It was I was like a proud mum. It was so beautiful. And then watching, I guess, then a real connect from being on those training modules to then doing a big workshop, or seeing those trainees that were in those modules then in front of me presenting at workshops, and just their face, like they were just, just overflowing with energy and excitement and it's just the most amazing thing. And because I'm like, oh my God, you get it, you see it, you feel it. It's just, it's like they're talking my language.
So was presenting now to presenting 12 years ago, is there a difference?
Very much so.
And is that due to venue? Is it due to no longer having the massive quarterlies that we used to have? What can you describe what that is, where that change is?
I think that all of the things that you just mentioned have an impact.
Yep.
And it's just such a different space now. I feel for some reason the energy and the passion, like the true dedicated passion around our programs, is so different.
Yep.
I would turn up at the RNA showgrounds with all of my other instructors, and we'd be road tripping, and we'd go up to this place and they'd have all of the clothing out for sale. And I'm like, I would spend that much money. I'd be in and out of change rooms, and everyone, like, you'd see the crazy fanatic instructors in the front. They'd be changing every program, in their new gear. And, it was just such it was like a concert. And everyone wanted to go. All of these instructors wanted to go. And I'm not saying that we need to do it on that scale, but I do find now that the instructors want members to be in their class. They want these class numbers, but yet they won't support their programs and turn up to workshops. So I find it really, they want a lot of things, but they don't realise that they're part of that.
Yes,
they're part of that. You're part of the foot traffic. You're the walk. You're supposed to be walking the walk, talking the talk. So I think can we say it's a generational thing? But it's not. It's just the world. It's just it's a community thing.
Yes, things have changed. I mean, we live down the south coast of New South Wales, and been back here now for 5 years since we left Canberra. Now, I even remember when I was account manager for New South Wales with Les Mills, the Illawarra, or the south coast where we live in Wollongong, hardly any of the instructors from this area went to quarterlies. Now, it's a 45-minute drive to Campbelltown. They could have easily gone up there. No, we just weren't doing it. From here, almost even down to Nowra. Yep, they wouldn't go. Even the Nowra guys that could have gone over to Canberra wouldn't go. Ask the question, oh, we're too busy. We've got families and stuff now. We can't do it. Be like, hang on a second. But this is what you do. You know, it's 4 times a year. 4 times a year. But yet you'd ask them what they used to do in I say the olden days. That's so wrong. What they used to do in in the past was they'd all get in. You know, they'd hire a van or they'd get in a van together and drive up from Nowra to Sydney. And do it and spend the entire day there and not get home until 10 o'clock at night or whatever. You know, for some reason, all that stopped, you know. And I'd say part of that stopped when instructors turned around and said to Les Mills, hey, no, we don't want the big quarterlies. We want it in our regional areas. We want regional ones. So it was split. And so the numbers going to these workshops was split right down a hell of a lot because you had more regional instead of the metro ones going on, although they weren't the big quarterlies anymore. That's when I believe some of this changed. But you are right as well in that the demographic of instructors that were coming through also changed. All of us that used to be groupies around the whole thing and be like, I remember there was Body Bake in Sydney. Body Bake. Yeah, they'd actually bring they'd bring cakes and food and all that kind of stuff, and it was a bake-off type thing. But they had shirts made as well that were body baked shirts. I think it was absolutely amazing. That was when there was that real camaraderie and the passion around what it is. But most of those people got older, and as we all got older, you have families. There are things that happen on weekends. You don't have that freedom of the luxury to be as so, young and carefree as what you used to. So I do get that, but really,
four times a year.
Exactly. That's my point. 4 times a year. It's like, come on, guys.
Get away from your kids, from your husband, from your wife.
Have a day. Yeah. Your husband can look after the kids or your wife can look after the kids for a day. Come on, this is your job. Get in there and do it. And so I think that is part of where it sort of changed as well in our industry.
Yeah, I do lay a lot of the responsibility on clubs as well in clubland.
Yep.
It was such a big thing, team teaching and launches and, the effort that went into that, and you'd all get together and you'd rehearse or just a couple of times. But that, for a lot of big chains, there's no team teaching anymore. You're not allowed to do these things. And, and also, if you want to work for my club, then my expectation is that we go and we make it a fun thing, and this is what we all do. So
could this come back into the category of group fitness management?
This is season 3.
Yeah.
But there we go. We've got some points to talk about. Yeah. But I do think that there is a lot of reasons, and but it all. A lot of it needs to come back to those instructors. Is it a genuine passion that you have?
Yeah.
Or is it just something that you just do for a hobby?
Yep.
Because it's a pretty tough gig as just a hobby. There's a whole lot of stuff to learn.
Yeah. As a side hustle, there is a truckload of choreography that you are learning and going through, as we all know, and it's a struggle. That's a real struggle. If you are in the industry full time, you fit it in somehow, but if you are working, I shouldn't say proper job because so many people arc up when I say that, but if you're working a 9 to 5 job that isn't in the fitness industry and the fitness industry is your before work or after work thing, it's hard work.
Yeah.
It's bloody hard work. I've got to sit down over night time and run through Macquarie. I'm sitting there to watch it. I've got to learn it. It's a challenge. It's real.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And, it shows.
Yeah.
I think it shows for people who teach classes who it's not something that they love to do. It becomes a mundane task, or it's something that maybe they think they thought they wanted to do, but and you can sort of, it's not coming from that authentic place.
Yeah. Hey, do you know any full-time instructors at the moment?
Well, I was just until a few months ago.
Yeah.
So yes, I do. There's not a lot of them around.
Yeah. I
It's
remember.
hard on your body.
Yeah. Oh, look, I remember back in 2003, 2004, there's still mates now that were teaching 36 to 38 classes a week.
Oh my gosh. I normally, 18 was a big figure for me, but
15, I think, was the most I ever did, and that was 15 cycle classes in a week. I was like, no more, none of that. But these were people that were doing pump, cycle, RPM, attack, freestyle stuff. It was just like, oh, wow. I don't know how your body coped with doing that for so long.
Are they teaching now?
One of them's not. One of them's up on the Gold Coast, up there. And I don't know if she's. I think she's just doing PT these days. I don't think she's actually teaching as many, but she's still in the industry, still doing stuff, going strong. But yeah.
This is the Group X podcast.
Hey, I wanted to ask you around your training module, not the one you did, not your training module, but the first one you ever took. When you had your groupies or your group of trainee groupies, that come out wrong, didn't it? Your trainees come along. How was that for you? How was it? You'd gone through your training, you're trained up to be a trainer. What was going through your mind the morning of or the day before, and how did it go?
Probably a whole lot of shit. Yeah.
Am I prepared? Have I got on?
And wanting to, we know, well, for me, I knew the content, but allowing it to flow, and making sure that everybody was being able to follow along or get what they needed, because people are so different and they need different things at different times. And, trying not to talk too much is really hard for me. Making sure that it was succinct. And so, look, there was probably just a whole lot of constantly checking.
Yep.
And it's like when you first start teaching a class and, trying to dot the I's and cross the T's.
Yeah. Yep.
Whereas, now teaching on a module, I can allow it to come out in a natural way and know that if I didn't follow it step by step by step there, where we're getting to is going to get us back around to that anyway, and capture it in the right way it needs to be captured. But rather than it being so rigid or robotic, it comes across as just a comfortable and ease of learning. But look, poor buggers. Poor buggers.
I love that. That's an honest one. That's an honest of, oh, shit. Yeah, I'm sure we got through it all. I'm sure. Oh, you know what? You guys will be all right.
Did anyone die?
No. I love that. I actually used that saying today with Maddie, my mate at Body Bike here. It was, he said something to me and I said, but Maddie, it's okay. You know what? We deal with bikes. Did anyone die? He's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. No one died.
Tony, I just have to get in a plug for Body Bikes.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Oh, my God, because they are, honestly, we're putting them through my new club at the moment. And, it's just so amazing to work with a company, and this is the second company that I've worked for, that know the product that's going to give their members a great experience. And Body Bike is one of those products, and it is just so refreshing. So not to plug, well, I was plugging it, but I'm actually saying it because I believe it.
No, look, I obviously listeners know. If they don't, I am general manager of Body Bike in Australia, and I haven't asked you at all to say that, but I do love the fact that it's real. It's as corny as it is, our bikes are the best on the market for a reason. They are built to last. there's a reason why clubs choose our bikes. There's a reason why we have bikes in clubs for up to 11 years, if not more. Yeah, they're built to last. They hang on to them. Yeah, like anything. A Ferrari needs a service too. Yeah, you need to have them serviced, but you look after them, they're going to look after you. And we don't seem to get complaints. We get compliments. And you know what?
So many compliments.
You know what? Thank you as well, because I know that you guys, it's the second club you've got the bikes in, and I know that they're doing well, and it's a pleasure for us to work with you as well. So no, thank you. It's all good. Hey, I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to ask you one last question, and it's what bit of advice would you give to someone wanting to do what you do?
Okay. If it comes from the real you, if you actually love it and are confident enough to let that show, dance like nobody's watching, you're going to love what you do. If it's coming from any other space, from an ego space, from a want to be the next rock star, your longevity in this is going to be so short. So do it because you love it, and do it because you actually want to impact people's lives, and you want them to, you want them to come and enjoy that time that they spend with you, and allow them just to, feel that energy that is group fitness and, training with like-minded people and all of those things. Just do it from your heart. Do it from your heart.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much for coming on the show, having a chat with me. I know it's been short, but I want to keep these, short and sharp so people listen and get in. And thank you for sharing your story and everything you have with us as well. And I will say, those people that are listening, Eve will be in season 3 with me. She will be chatting to me with group fitness management stuff. Whether she likes it or not, she's just put her hand up. So,
and can I plug can I give my club a plug?
Please do. Go for it.
Okay. Anybody listening and everybody listening, if you come to the Gold Coast, please come and visit me at our new club, Hype at Pimpamar. We are about to open on Monday, and it is the most beautiful club, and I would love for you to come and experience what we're trying to achieve there.
Awesome. Well done. Yeah. Hey, I'm hopefully going to be up there in the next 4 weeks as well. So, I'm coming to visit.
Come on, Tone. Get your bum on a bike.
Will do. It's been a couple of years, but I'll do my best. Eve, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.